What's up everybody? I hope you're doing well. So a few videos back, I talked about my ingredients for success as an entrepreneur. One of the ingredients that I mentioned was embracing failure as a key part of success. And I noticed that a number of you left comments in that video reflecting on that idea of how valuable it was for you to hear about my failures and asking some questions about that. So in this video, I thought it might be helpful to zoom in on this particular ingredient for success of embracing failure. If nothing else, I hope you get the memo from this video that failure is a critical, expected part of any type of success in life. Just because you're failing, it's not by itself a sign that you can't have success. Okay, let's kick off this video by going a little bit more in depth in some of my experiences around failure. When I first started school as a little kid, I started behind. I think what might have been going on there is that as a highly sensitive person, I was just always overwhelmed. So I always carried this narrative with me that like, I don't get it, never gonna understand, but I was able to kind of scrape by up until college where my first quarter I got C's, which was just like, in my mind, was not an acceptable outcome for me. So after I got my grades, my first quarter, I really started to consider like, do I need to transfer out of a four-year college? Like I genuinely thought like, I'm not gonna figure this out. By the time I made it to my second year of college, I finally realized that the way that I learn is just completely different than the way my university context was structured. I was getting straight A's. I was working less to get the information in my brain than I had been when I was getting C's. What I did was I embraced that I just don't learn the way that other people seem to learn or the way things are structured. Now, this moment in time is a really critical time in my entire lifespan because that was the first time that I realized in order to succeed for myself, I needed to do things differently than whatever other people were telling me I was supposed to do. By persisting through setbacks rather than giving up, I was able to utilize grit and problem solving to find a new path towards success. It wasn't really that I'm just a failure as a person. It's, oh, there's an insight here. Actually, the reason why I'm failing is because I need to do this in a totally different way than people are telling me, and then I can find my avenue to success. This has become a theme for me in my entire life and my career, where now, at this point, finally, after doing this a zillion times, I can just see the failure as an opportunity. And I want to make clear that that moment in time in college is not like the moment when failure stopped happening. It's just when my approach to failure significantly changed. I have many failures that came after that. So let me tell you about some of those. I can't even keep track of how many business ventures I've had that epically tanked. One in particular that I can remember, which isn't that long ago, was in like 2016, 2017 or so. I had this business idea where I wanted to teach people how to integrate their multifaceted identity together into a sense of a complete whole. The business concept was rooted in something authentic, but I went about it all wrong. At that time, I was utilizing kind of more traditional business strategies to hopefully grow that business, where I kind of overinflated my sense of confidence, painted myself as more of an expert than I was. This thing that I was genuinely so passionate about, so excited about, I took that and I started being inauthentic about how I went about growing this thing that was actually important to me. So I started to feel more and more icky about that business over time. I eventually just fell off the bandwagon on that one. Also, I want to be clear that it's not just business ideas that tanked for me. It's also like my career in general. When I first finished grad school, I needed to look for a pre-licensure internship. I applied to everything. I could not find a job. I did eventually find one, which I ended up loving, in private practice, and that's how I discovered private practice. But even then, it was the kind of private practice where I was on my own to figure out how to fill my practice. I didn't know what I was doing, so I just kept failing at that as well and questioned whether I really was cut out to be a therapist, let alone a therapist in private practice. And in the midst of that whole fiasco where I was trying to fill my pre-licensure private practice and I didn't have clients, I needed to supplement my income. I applied to any job I could possibly find. And I distinctly remember getting interviewed at Bath and Body Works and then being totally ghosted after that interview. That was rough. In more recent years, around 2017 or so, I started getting really eager to look for a teaching job. Finally, in 2018, I did get a role teaching one class to MFT students I personally absolutely absolutely loved it. I had a little bit of an itch, it scratched that itch, and then that class ended. But once I scratched that itch a little bit and then it stopped, I had to teach more. I loved it so much. When I reached out inquiring about future positions, I didn't even hear back. So they ghosted me as well. And from there, I just had to keep teaching. So I applied to absolutely everything I possibly could. And even if somebody didn't have an open position, I'm just sending like cold emails to people. And generally, I didn't hear back. It was in that state of mind that the idea for private practice skills downloaded for me literally at 4 a.m. while I was on vacation with my husband. I wanted to do this so bad that my brain figured out a way for me to do it. And this is exactly how private practice skills was born. I see private practice skills as being born directly out of failure. Letting these failures be learning opportunities, pivoting, finding new ways to problem solve is, in my opinion, a very critical component of my path to success. I think there is a universal component to this that for everyone who finds success, embracing failure is absolutely necessary. If you do a Google search looking for examples of folks who've had failures before landing on big success, you can find some very big name celebrities with a whole resume of failures before they landed on their great success. Here's my whole hope and point in making this video. If you don't believe that failure is a critical component of success, then you may give up when you hit any type of failure in your ventures. You may miss an opportunity to identify where your individual greatness thrives. You may miss that chance to pivot into something amazing because maybe what you were doing wasn't quite it. As you hit those failures and you pivot and you problem solve, there's an opportunity for some creative venture that you probably wouldn't have been able to land on if it wasn't for those failures. So whatever your goals might be in life, big or small, whether it's about business, career, personal, relational, or otherwise, embracing failure will only help you get towards success. Just saying, oh, failure, I failed. What next? How do I problem solve? What is this telling me? Where do I need to go? What's not working? Taking this approach will help you eventually arrive at your end goal, even if it took a lot of twists and turns before you got there, but it also will allow you to have a much healthier approach to the whole thing as you're going through it. Well, I know I'm always helped by hearing about how other folks have overcome failure, so I hope that you found this video helpful as well. And before we close, I'd like to thank TherapyNotes.com for sponsoring this video. TherapyNotes helps with scheduling, notes, and billing. They have a HIPAA-secure telehealth platform, which is included for free in their general membership. And if you'd like to check out Therapy Notes, you can try it for 2 months for free with no commitment just by clicking the link in the description of this video. Well, I hope you found this video helpful, whatever it is that you're focusing on in life. And if you're willing, I'd love for you to leave a comment sharing what, quote, failures in your life have actually benefited you in the long run so people can draw inspiration from your experience as well. And until next time, from one therapist to another, I wish you well.